What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back on the Friday ahead of the Lazio game. But we're not going to talk about Lazio. The preview is out as well. We will be live tomorrow after the game with the reaction and all that stuff. We're going to talk about Marchisio speaking up, and he's not the only one speaking off. Although a lot of ex-players have not thrown Allegri completely under the bus, there are clear signs that they are looking at what Allegri is doing, and they're like, okay, we can talk about players, but some things are just on you. Some players are not improving, and well, you're the coach, you're overseeing these things, and that's not okay. So that's what we're going to talk about in this video. Before we get into it, hit the like button, subscribe, hit that bell notification as well, and let's go and see what Marchisio had to say. Okay, so what Marchisio had to say, he talked about Locatelli, big point, and he talked about Sule and Huijsen as well. But we're going to talk about Locatelli because Locatelli is a big talking point, on this channel, just among Juve fans, because some rate him highly, some rate him, I don't know, halfway, like me, and some absolutely dislike him. I think I'm the right side. I'm in between. I'm not, oh, he's amazing. I'm also not, oh, he's absolute garbage. I think he's a good player. My only issue with him, it feels inconsistent at times. However, I've always said the position he plays, not a fan. Will never be a fan of it because it looks meh. It looks like, yeah, and that's what Marquise had to say. He said it's important to underline that Luka was intentionally positioned in front of the defense to play as a playmaker, despite being signed to fulfill the role of a central midfielder. I hope that in the future, Locatelli can return to a midfield three. I remember him at Sassuolo. He was a player with energy and runs towards a goal. It's clear that if you spend 70 minutes shielding the ball, you're less sharp when you have it at your feet to play. I do agree. Midfield three, obviously. I think even in a two, it could be something depending on who's playing in front of him as well. But for me, he's not, whatever you want to call it, regista, defensive midfield, whatever. He's just shielding that back line, and you're just throwing away, in my opinion, a lot of things we saw at the Euros and as well with Sassuolo. All the things that make all Juve fans say, or most Juve fans say, or even just clubs in Europe as well, say, okay, that's it. That's what we want. We brought him in, and we were like, you're not going to do that at all. You're just not going to do it. And it feels like, in my opinion, we're kind of wasting his talent, because I know if you look at the stats, progressive passes and all those things are good. I think it's more also because he has the ball a lot. However, higher up the pitch, he's more dangerous. He is more dangerous because his feet are good enough. His movement is good enough. All these things are just being wasted in a position where I don't know how many players, how many ex-players and coaches who need to come out and say, you know what, that's not his position, and you're playing him there, but actually it's not really going the way it should be going, or it's not why you brought him in. That's not why we signed Locatelli. I hate that we're trying to shoehorn him in a position. I get we do not have another option. If you want to play like this, if you can mix it up. It's not gonna happen. But if you play the way you want to play, the way Allegri is gonna play, you have Nicolosi, but I don't think anyone wants to see Nicolosi week in, week out in that position. So it is what it is. You brought in Paredes, it flopped. You loaned out Barrenechea. Well, I think that was a clear message from Allegri saying, Locatelli, you're gonna play there. And I know Locatelli said, "Are we better?" I think it was not this international break, after the last international break. He came out and he said, like, I need to do better, even though it's not my main position, whatever. I need to improve. And he said, I was improving. And actually, he has improved. But I cannot help myself when I look at Locatelli and I'm like, I think we're wasting you. Like, we're just wasting you. Like, you're doing the job of a player we could have got much cheaper, Barrenechea. In my opinion, that's how I look at Locatelli, because I think he's a high energy player, and I don't see that energy there. Most games, you see the energy in top games. You can see it. But he's not much involved, and that's what Marquise is basically saying. Like, he's picking up the ball, recycling the ball, and he's doing it, and you look at it, and you're like, yeah, man, like it doesn't feel right. When Pjanic was doing it, it felt right, if you know what I mean, because he wasn't scared to get, in there, the dirty job, but his passing ability was top notch. That even from that position, it looked solid or great at one point. Like it looked amazing at one point. Maybe the final season it was like, okay, maybe this is it now. But it's not Pjanic. The difference is insane because Locatelli is not the same player. Maybe we're looking at those performances and we're like, okay, that's what we want from Locatelli, but it's not gonna get. We're not gonna get that. You're not gonna get that with Barnechea to that extent. However, it will free up Locatelli. So I think that's a need for the summer, even if Allegri is gonna stay, which I don't think is gonna happen. But that's what Marchisio is basically saying. And to follow it up, Marchisio is echoing a thing we also have been discussing on this channel on Sule. He said, "Oh, I hope that Sule and Huijsen can truly have a chance at Juve next year. Next year, if the team returns to play in the Champions League, players of great talent and future champions like them are needed." He's basically saying you need a squad. Like, you need a squad, and you cannot buy 1,000 players. Like, it is what it is financially, and we're gonna play more games if it's in the Champions League or, by the looks of it, in the Europa League at this pace. The World Cup, whatever, you can take it serious or not serious. It's a lot of money involved. First edition. Yeah, I don't think as a club you want to go there and make a fool out of yourself, and you're gonna lose to, I don't know, Kansas City and Cruz Azul, or with all due respect, like that cannot happen. You do not want that to happen, but you need a bigger squad, and we're not gonna sign 10 players. When I see certain things, links with Zakania and Wendell, and I'm like, yeah, man, I know you need to make money to buy players, but maybe just sacrifice one, keep these players instead of sacrificing multiple youngsters to get the older experienced one, but they're not good enough, nor do they have the ceiling to be those players, like the ceilings potentially these two have. Not saying they are gonna make it. Not everybody in the squad is gonna make it. I get it, but it feels way too soon to say Sully goodbye, Huijsen whatever, Junior on his way out. Like it's sad to watch, because keep in mind the crop of players coming from the next gen now is ridiculous. It's not like we've not seen anything like that, and by the looks of it, we're not gonna see anything like that anytime soon. Like there's not gonna be a next gen where you can get Huijsen, Sule, Miretti, Fagioli if you want to include him in there. Who else? Barnechea. I'm probably missing something. Yildiz. Like it's not gonna happen. That's basically an 11 coming out. Obviously, not all of them are gonna make it, but in the next couple of years, you might get one. Like one, this is ridiculous what is happening now, and now it's time to capitalize. And I feel the club is going to capitalize on it financially rather than squad building. That's just because you're not going to win now. Everybody knows that. So you can bring in experience and sign more quality players, and you can use these guys as well to learn. So in a couple of seasons, you don't need to spend the big bucks. You have these players at your disposal, and you can spend that one big buck or one player you definitely need instead of 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces. But that's just what it is. I think we're going to sell quite a few of them. Junior, Sule, Barnechea. I think we're going to sell at least 3 of them, if not 4. So that's that. A bit of depressing news ahead of Saturday. Hopefully not a depressing result, but we will talk about that post-game. Until then, like the video, subscribe, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Post Lazio. Ciao.